The big news we had about the helicopter crash investigation and its report that was submitted to the president yesterday. Well, right from that, the public is now aware of what must have caused that accident. The committee investigating the August 6th helicopter crash that claimed 8 lives, including 2 senior government officials, has concluded that the tragedy was caused by a powerful downdraft that forced the aircraft into a sudden loss of altitude. The Ghana Air Force helicopter departed Accra on August 6, 2025, around 9 a.m. for Obuasi on an anti-illegal mining operation, but lost radar contact before crashing in the Adansi-Ekrofom district of the Ashanti region. All 8 persons on board perished, including Defense Minister Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah and Environment Minister Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. The committee was later tasked to investigate the incident and recommend safety measures to prevent similar tragedies. 3 months after the crash, the committee on Monday presented its final report to President John Mahama. Some had attributed various reasons for the accident, including sabotage, while others questioned the airworthiness of the helicopter. However, presenting the findings at a public briefing in Accra, Captain Retired Paul Fojo, a member of the committee, disclosed that the aircraft was in good mechanical condition, but it was in good mechanical condition before takeoff and showed no signs of technical failure during the flight.
The aircraft on the day was declared serviceable and duly signed off by both the engineers and the captain. The flight data report indicates that the helicopter was in good working condition. The helicopter, however, did not have some avionic safety enhancements. As I said before, the aircraft was serviceable and airworthy. The additional safety equipment that the helicopter did not have were things like the helicopter terrain awareness system or the enhanced ground proximity warning system, as you may choose, advanced navigation with terrain mapping, an automatic flight control system, and I would say that these safety equipment would have enhanced situational awareness. For instance, it didn't have an autopilot. That's advanced the automatic flight control system, so that the crew had to manually fly the plane. So it sort of increases workload. Typically, you want to have a plane that has an autopilot. All the civil planes use autopilots, and the workload on the pilots is very low. It gives you the chance to do things and to think easily, and so on and so forth. Despite all this, the aircraft was in a good condition to fly and met all safety requirements.
And so he further indicated that the report said the military helicopter encountered abrupt weather changes while flying over high terrain, leading to the fatal accident.
At 9:56, the crew entered IMC, which is Instrument Meteorological Conditions. To the layman, it is they flew into clouds because they no longer could stay away from the clouds, so they flew into clouds and transitioned to IFR. Now, IFR is Instrument Flight Rules. So what it means is they now transitioned from navigating using visual cues to now navigation solely on the aircraft's instruments. The crew then initiated a climb to cross terrain that they were aware of. They initiated the climb to cross the terrain. Seconds before impact, the crew stated that they could see the high ground below, so they'd gone over it. Suddenly thereafter, the helicopter that was flying up without any change in its power or in the pitch which we use to go up and down, suddenly lost height and impacted a ridgeline at about 1,370 feet above sea level. And this was about 6.5 miles from the destination, and this happened at 9:58.
And so that is the voice of Captain Retired Paul Fojo, who is a member of the committee that investigated the August 9 helicopter crash, which left 8 of our compatriots dead. And let's try and get some further analysis on this. Joining us now is ex-wing commander Nelson Patrick Sogbojo. He has been one of the key voices educating Ghanaians on what happens to aircrafts, the things that are considered before it takes off, while in transition, what are the considerations during landing, etc. And now that the full report is out and has been made public, would want to pick his thoughts on it. Ex-wing commander, very good evening to you. Thank you for your time, sir.
Well, it's Wing Commander retired.
Wing Commander retired. Thank you for the correction. To start with the kind of experience you have and having followed this particular tragic incident since it started up until now, what do you make of the final outcome in the report? Does that corroborate some of the key issues you suspected?
Yes, this is a very comprehensive report which has been given. When this incident happened, I think I spoke to many of the stations and TV stations, and then the biggest problem was what happened for the aircraft to lose height. Because when an airplane is going to go anywhere, you fire a flight plan, the control tower. You indicate the height at which you'll be flying. The control tower, office assistant or meteorological office, will give you weather en route. Then they give you permission to take off. Now you have to adhere to the height approved by the control tower. If you have to change it, you have to call them. That may be due to cloud or something. I want to go up. Okay? And they'll give you a height approved and you go. So you just don't get up and fly all over. Now this airplane took off from Accra. And before takeoff, the crew were overqualified, as stated by the report. The aircraft was airworthy. He gets his permission to take off from Accra to Boase, and is flying normal. Visual flight rules, which mean that you, the pilot, can see the ground. If you are doing IFR instruments, you don't. You are pretty high. And it is going on track 6 minutes to destination. Then contact is lost for the aircraft. But people abuse it to be rated, but contact was lost. Right. Now the word the board of inquiry has come out clearly. There's a downdraft who pushed the helicopter down. And we have separation when you are flying. Minimum 1,000 feet or 2 above the highest obstacle. So this helicopter was flying above on its height approved. There was no reason for it to come and fly into a tree or a mountain. But the downdraft pushes the aircraft down. And it's not something which is certain that you can see it and you go into it, because no pilot wants to go and die. But suddenly weather can change. And unfortunately, helicopters don't go too high. If, for example, you even come from Kumasi to Accra, the height is fly 8,000 to 10,000, downdraft won't do much damage. But when you are closer to the ground and then you are suddenly pushed down, it is not a question that a pilot had about 10, 20, 30 minutes to try and find out what am I going to do next. And on top, I've said it, this was over a heavy forested area. So that when they entered a downdraft, as the report says, maybe trying to recover from it, the airplane is not static, it's coming down. And then maybe it struck something. And once it struck something, then that's the end of the story.
Right.
So now we know that the aircraft was airworthy. It wasn't the aircraft problem, machine or anything, The pilots were overqualified to do that flight. So I believe it's just an accident.
Right.
Which happened.
Yes. And the report seemed to have just confirmed that. But, in our airspace, and having been a country that, has been in the aviation sector for several years, how common are downdrafts in Ghana's airspace?
No, this is weather. There's nothing anybody can count. The number of downdrafts we have, number of clouds we have, number of thunderstorms we have. We can't. It's generated by the atmosphere.
Right. So is it fair to come to the conclusion that it is a natural phenomenon? However, aircrafts are designed, pilots are trained to be able to maneuver or go out of these downdrafts when they do happen. And so this was more or less simply an unfortunate incident or an accident, as you call it.
Thank you. I think that's what happened. Because if the pilot is worn down there with that kind of situation, there was no way he was going to fly towards it. I mean, let's be honest. No pilot will take off an airplane wanting to go and die.
Right.
The kamikaze time during the Second World War is gone. You have wife and children. You're going to kill yourself for what reason?
Right.
But when incidents happen, there's no ideal incident situation. There was a mention of flight simulator. Flight simulator, you can generate the weather for the pilots to fly. But when you come back to the Ghana Air Force was established in 1959. And we have a very high safety record. We lost about 3 airplanes we have there. So whether there's a flight simulator currently available, there's one at the base at the craft or the jet fighters, okay? All the pilots who train, they have flown heads of space in Ghana and outside. So it's touching the question of flight simulator.
Okay.
But the question of the weather, the sudden weather, and because of the height of helicopter, you don't have, let's say, 20 minutes trying to find out somewhere to land. It suddenly comes up. If you have downdraft and upper draft.
Okay.
I can say if an airplane fixed when flying at a high altitude, the downdraft you have spaces to avoid it. But this is an unfortunate situation.
The gleaning from what we were told at the press conference when the report was being made public, another understanding I got was that they were en route. The path that had been created visually, they were en route until they had to go further up because of visibility challenges. And then they now quickly reverted to the aircraft's own way of, navigating the route. There was an expression he used, an abbreviation he used for that. If you are not visually able to, the aircraft has that capability. Then they had this weather challenge. But from what you said, could there have been an earlier weather warning? Because they said that there was a delayed takeoff because of weather concerns. But then subsequently, when they got the all clear, they took off. Is it possible, do we have systems that can predict or are able to foretell or forecast that maybe between this place and that place, the weather might change, so maybe reroute or find a different route? Do we have those systems?
Yeah, you just mentioned it. If you're driving your car on the road and there's a portal, don't you avoid it? You do. In the same way, before you take off, and you take off, you fire the flight plan to the control tower, and they have approved it together with weather information. But weather can change anytime, any minute, anywhere. That's why no man, no machine have absolute control over it. Right. If you are I won't say model, let's say a big airliner flying from Accra to London, radar can tell you, but local flights from Accra to Boak, there are no gadgets of that nature. And how often do we have that kind of flight? It's not a normal route, let's say Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, which is a known route. But Boase is not really. Right. And if you also come back, they were only 6 minutes away from destination.
Okay.
So if the weather was bad, they would have diverted and gone to it. But it might be a sudden weather would develop.
Okay.
I hope you understand. Who they couldn't control and trying to go as maybe trying to avoid it.
Right.
They're going higher, and maybe they got into the storm. You know, also I keep saying that it's unfortunate accident is happening.
Yes.
Then to add up to it because of where it happened, on top of forest area.
So
there was no way even the pilot can say, let's go and land here.
Right.
You understand? And turning around, we'll be turning around the same draft situation. You know, it's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
And the pilots are all weather pilots. They could have gone through it. They fly in the night, but a storm, a downdraft, it's a different dimension altogether.
Right.
So at least the capability of the airplane has been generated, pilots have been generated. You can't generate the weather.
Okay.
And it wasn't a prevailing weather from Accra to Kumasi and to Obasi. It's going to be developed around the locality. 6 minutes to land.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking to us. But finally, before you take leave of us, we would also want to know the recommendations were made. One of it is the flight simulation devices or exercise, which you say is important. But, I mean, based on what has happened, it was not what could have helped or caused the accident. So part of the recommendations is that we need to change or improve the fleet that we have for our Air Force. Having listened to them, is there anything you'd want to add based on your knowledge, your experience, and also what you have picked from the report?
This particular aspect of the report, I'm not comfortable with it. Because the Ghana Air Force was incepted in 1959. And I've trained a lot of pilots who have flown other airplanes like Captain Porter, who is my very good friend, you know. And flight simulation, according to type of aircraft you are flying. You may have the general one, but flight simulators don't make a pilot. It's only to enhance you. If you do flight simulator, you have to come and do the actual flight. I hope you are getting me.
I do.
So we can't say we need flight simulators for all the types of the airplanes we have. It's virtually impossible. And when you are buying airplanes or buying cars, Mercedes, Toyota make their standard car, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, if you want an extra gadget, you pay for it and it's installed. Okay?
Yeah.
But for a conference here and what the Air Force needs to do, support role for the Army or the government, I don't think autopilots and the rest of them. I was trained in Italy. I flew a link trainer. That's like a simulator that doesn't move.
Right.
Okay? So it is one about the majority of the pilots didn't use flight simulators to train. I know says flight simulators are for type and enhance your flying.
Okay.
But this accident, you can feed into the simulator and see how you can react. But accidents happen. It's like driving and suddenly tie best. You know?
Yes.
You are in the air. You see, you enter it. You can't hold the airplane. And as a control tower, what should I do? Or call for a technician to come up. And of course, that affects the aircraft airworthiness that they generated, the technician or all those who work on it. That it was in a perfect condition. The pilots were okay. But let's accept it as an accident. There is no ideal accident situation.
Right. Well, we are always grateful that you make time to educate and give us insider information and insights into the aviation industry. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, sir. All right.
And we've been speaking to Wing Commander Nelson Patrick Sogbojo, retired, and he was just helping us understand or give us some perspectives into the final report into that accident that claimed the lives of 8 compatriots, and also made some recommendations that the suggestion, for instance, that we need to retool our Air Force is in the right direction. However, asking that the flight simulators be added wouldn't necessarily be a masterstroke or the panacea to this kind of accident, and has actually just brought the entirety of what happened on August 9 and named it an accident, which is an inevitable thing that anybody could face. So it is just an unfortunate development, but we just have to wait and see how everybody else can take this news in. So